Behind the chair, we're faced with situations where we have to make a big decision. Clients come in and they want to make changes happen. Sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it's dramatic, and you've got to make that decision and make it happen very quickly. That happened to me this week, and this is the exact situation. I pre-cut this mannequin to match it. She had a one length look all the way to her shoulder and very solid fringe, and she said to me, I want a new look, but I want to keep a little bit of this length back here. As a matter of fact, she said, I want a modern mullet. That's what she called it. She even had photos to back it up. So I said, okay, great. We got a one length look with a full fringe, and you want this coming up off your face, and you got this length flowing back here and leanness on the side. You sure you want to make that big change? And she said, yes, I want to go for it. To do that though, I challenged myself. How am I going to do that with one shear in my hand, my shark fin 6 1/4, one comb, and one clip? And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to take this and make it into a modern mullet. So let's go ahead and take this to this, a modern mullet. Okay, to begin, I've taken a parting right here above the round of the head. I pushed everything to the side. Now I'm right-handed and I want to start on the right temple. Why? Because I want to create a guide and follow that to the left around the head shape. Why is that important for me being right-handed, starting on the right temple? Because I can create a guide and always cut into fresh hair and away from my guide. If you're left-handed, you move around to the other side and you do the opposite. You move this way around the head shape, okay? Make it easier on yourselves. Now, what am I gonna do here to begin? I've got to get rid of a ton of length on the side, and yet I need to transition into length on the back, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and separate the hair behind the ear and just push it out of the way, and we're only gonna be working with this section right here from the temple to just behind the ear. What is that going to look like though? This is what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna take some pretty broad sections. We don't have to make these finger length sections. There's no need. We're getting rid of some weight here, and here's the way it's gonna look. I'm actually gonna part this off, and my friends, I'm actually gonna take a ton of length. Take a look at this. My fingers are pointed up at the ceiling. I want you to see that. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna cut straight up and down to my knuckle. I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna let go of my section. Instead, I'm gonna re-grab just below it, pick up my guide, make sure my fingers are pointed at the ceiling. I'm gonna cut to the knuckle because I don't have tension below that. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish this through all the way through to the hairline. Now I've cut this section. It's very lean, straight up and down lean because I've cut a vertical section. I could take another one just behind it now. I'm gonna push this hair out of the way, and I'm just getting to the back of the ear, just barely. And now as I bring this out, what you'll notice is this. Focus on the upper portion here. You can see that previously cut section. That is my guide, my friends, and we're gonna travel with it. I'm gonna push this out of the way, get my comb in my hand, and sure enough, I'm gonna cut to that knuckle. I'm trying to go slow here and show you exactly where I'm cutting and why I'm cutting it. And as we cut down, these vertical sections are important. My fingers are truly trying to get pointed at the ceiling here. So I get a vertical section and a lean feel on the sides, and this stuff is truly collapsing right through here. Now, I can take this as short as I want. I can put my fingers on the head, or I can draw it out. That's the beauty of vertical sections. You can determine the length you want to remain once you're done. In this case, I want to collapse it and push it down. I'm gonna take one more section, a smaller section, finger length, just behind the ear. I'm gonna push this out of the way because we've got to keep that length back here, and so therefore I'm going to draw this up, pull this section out, take a look for my guide, place my comb in my hands, and sure enough, I'm going to cut straight down and get this vertical section cut into place. Now, once I've got that, I'm going to start to make a transition in the back. I'll show you exactly what that looks like as I turn the model. Okay, we've just completed the vertical sections that started on the temple and they finished just behind the ear, and they were really close to the head shape. We now are left with all this length on the back. Now part of that's great because it's going to tie into that mullet feel we want. However, there's way too much weight inside the interior here, and we've got to work with that. And yet we were connecting our guide from front to back, and how do we start to make that transition? Well, we can do so in a couple different ways. I'm going to show you exactly how. We're going to start on this next section. Now here's the key. I'm drawing this all the way down to the hairline from that parting I made, and what I want you to do is take a clip and get this hair out of the way so it's not bothering you. But here's what I want you to think about. On the side, I could easily grab this hair in my fingers. It's a short section from the perimeter to the parting. Here, I've got this ginormous section. There's no point in trying to grab all that. Don't do it. Make it easier on yourself. Just grab what you can control, starting up here. Now, I've gone ahead and dropped a guide here. Here it is in my hands. Here it is. I'm going to start with that. But what you're going to notice is these sections are going to start to over direct to meet it. Now, I was cutting directly in front of my section over here. And as I transition to the back of the head, what I want you to notice is this. The sections are going to slightly bend towards the side. That over direction is going to increase the amount of length and weight that is held in the back. So proportionally, this starts to enlarge and carry that weight, whereas this was nice and lean through here. It's just a subtle trick to make it easier on you as you make this transition. Let's take a look at what this looks like here. I'm going to go ahead and start that. I'm going to get this section in my hand, look for that guide, and now sure enough, I can over direct that and cut it down. I'm going to cut to my knuckle, start to grab the weight that I can control. I want this section to be clean in my hand. Place my comb, get my fingers positioned, and start to move down the section. I started at the parting at the round of the head. I'm transitioning down the head shape to the perimeter on the neckline, and this hair is starting to drag over naturally on the bottom of the hairline. Here's what I want you to notice. I'm going to hold this in my hand so you can see this. This length will increase. Take a look at the curvature of the head. It naturally starts to create a little bit of weight down here. We love that. We want that. We're going to keep that. Now, as we keep moving, what I want you to notice, I'm going to keep these sections flowing and over directing slightly to the previously cut section. So it looks like this. I get this hair out of the way, and we're going to transition over. I'm going to show you from the side so you see that view, and then we'll move the camera. So as I get this section, remember, I don't want all that hair. Absolutely not. I'm going to over direct this hair over that previously cut section, start to get that weight going. And I'll tell you, once you get the hang of vertical sections, cutting this way with your fingers pointed up, I'll tell you, it gets easier and easier. Your speed increases. I'm trying to slow things down so we can talk through this and work through this shape together. Here we are at the bottom. It's starting to naturally create some of that length and weight that I want. I'm going to continue in the middle. Let's go ahead and position her a little bit differently so you can see it. I'm on the left side in the same story, my friends. I've got this parting that went from behind the ear on either side. I've got a center parting, and I've got just this. You can actually take all of it. Grab all of this in your hands, lift up from below, take a look at the guide sitting right there on the top of my middle finger. I can draw this out and I can cut right on top of that guide. Keep cutting straight through to follow this up through the front. And you're done with this side, and that leaves the back here. Got a little straggler here. Little guy trying to get away. There we are. I've got this back. Let's contend with the back. I'm going to move her right now to show you. I've got this. It comes from that parting we left behind, and it's this weight right here. Now, here's where I can start to transition. Do I want to take a horizontal section back here? Actually, no, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Let me move her to show you from this perspective. I'm actually going to lift this up vertically, and here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to take this section. I'm just going to get some hair out of the way. She's partially dry. I may miss her in a minute. We'll see if I can control this. Here you go. Take a look at this. If I lift this up, do you see that? That's my guide, and it actually connects to what I just left behind. I can draw this up now. I can now cut straight through at an angle. Why do I want to cut at this vertical angle? It's a slightly vertical angle right through here. Well, it's going to reduce some of that weight and connect from underneath to up top very cleanly for me. I don't have to build quite as much weight as I wanted on the sides here. So let's go ahead and remove this. Now, as I draw this up, sure enough, let's take a look. Look at my hand. You could see that guide left behind. It starts right here. I've got a nice section coming up vertically. Draw this stuff up and simply cut straight through. You're getting the transition you want. As I move to this corner right here, this left rear corner, what am I left with? That right there. If I pull this up, comb through, I kind of like her drying out because I can see what her hair is going to do. I can go ahead and see that guide once again on my fingers. Bring this up, cut through. I'm readjusting to be able to cut through. I've connected from here to here now, and it's actually connected the weight nicely. Let's go ahead and make sure I got one last guy that's struck through. Oh, there he is. Connect that. I've got everything now. Let's go ahead and start to get her in position so I can show you how we're going to detail. To do that though, I'm going to dry her to show her natural texture, show the movement, show what we're looking at. So let me get the dryer and we'll take a look. After blow drying with a vent brush, I've got the rough shape right here. And that's exactly it. I've roughed it in so I could see exactly what I wanted here. I've got the leanness on the sides. I've got the length back here in the middle that she wanted. I've got this flowing through and the height up here, and yet I'm not done. I need to define things a little bit more, and I want to collapse a little bit more on the sides. And here's a couple ways that I might approach that. I like to start from underneath and take my shear, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this fringe out just like that, and take a look at that section that's left behind here, right there. I'm going to start there, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in and notch into that about a 1/4 inch through. I'm going to go just above that and take a new section and notch into that. I'm going to go just above that. I'm closing my shear, lifting up so I can actually control that section and notch in. I'm skipping, I'm stair-stepping up. This is allowing me to collapse these areas through the interior, these notches right here with the shear, and it starts to add a little bit more separation and movement, and it starts to collapse this area even more. Now, if I'm not happy with the fringe, I can also clean that up. The photo she had actually showed me that she had this ear a little bit more defined. That's great. I can go ahead and come in here and define that a little bit more. And now as I've got this transition area, remember, this is the stuff that came forward here. If I see too much weight right here, I can now come through and I've got a diagonal back section that I can point into again and see me notch that through. It's a diagonal back section that allows this to start to transition even more into the back area where that weight lives. Diagonal back above that, stair stepping above it. Here I am, notching in. And I'll go ahead and duplicate this process on the other side. What that's doing is it's starting to collapse this area a little bit more, lean it out, which means that it's lengthening and drawing the height up through the top of the shape. I'm going to go ahead and transition to the other side and do the same thing. I've done that detailing on both sides, and now I need to start to focus on this. I want this shape to be a little bit more lean. I've intentionally left this length. Remember, this front fringe was truly giving me the reference point that I want to carry through as far as height goes. But now we're starting to broaden out. Broaden out on the sides and the corners right here above the round of the head. That's okay. I'm glad I have it to work with, and you may want that too. However, if you start to see some things that are a little wide here, this is where I may start to visually slide cut through and remove a little bit of this weight. How do I get here? Well, I needed to see it dry. I needed to see what the hair was actually going to do so I can slide through. Remember, I'm radially cutting, meaning I'm just gently closing one blade as I slide through the hair strand and visually remove some of this weight. What is that starting to do? It's starting to lean the shape out, and what those shorter pieces are going to do is push up into this weight through the height. Now, if you've got too much coming in through, you can channel cut, slide cut, or whatever you want to call it, right on through here. And really what it's doing is it's starting to push this through. Now, remember, I don't have the full product range in here. I've got to put some product in here to define this, and yet I'm seeing what I need to. Don't mask that too much with water. Don't mask it too much with product. Get this stuff roughly dried in with a base spray, a clay spray, whatever you want to do, so you can start to see the shape and then start to work with it. Now I'm going to turn her slightly. This corner is slightly different, but I see that weight I want to go ahead and remove right through here. Again, I'm just going to slide through gently and visually remove some of that weight that's really carrying over and rounding her out too much. Again, I love the shear in my hand. It lets me do so many things, whether it's a flat cut, a point cut, a slide cut. Find something that fits your hand. I've got good leverage right here with the tang and my pinky, It really allows me to have the control I need, find that one that fits you, and do the work you need to do. Check this out, I'm getting her into shape. The back is really where I want it. I really like her back here. Again, I gotta get some product in here to define it, but that shape is really starting to come into play. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this and slide cut a little bit more through the top just to break this apart. Really like the height that we have here and the transition. Make sure you work up through, and even though you're doing this, cut with intention, meaning I'm cutting in an area where I truly see that it needs support or collapse. You've got to be intentional. Don't just to cut, cut with pure intention. Okay, I'm gonna get some product in her and define her shape a little bit more so she's not too puffy, and we'll take a look. All right, we've got some product in place and she's a little bit more defined. We've got the height that we wanted using the front fringe as a reference to draw this back. We collapsed those sides the way we wanted so this can flow back or down depending on their hair texture and type. And we've got a little fringe here, and this weight back here, we used what we had here. I'm gonna push this up so you can see, but it does come back to a little bit more of a tail. We've used this weight that we built up through the occipital area, transitioning all the way up through the crown and into the apex of the head, giving her this modern mullet. And we transition from a one length to that by using a shear and a comb. And that's the challenge I have for you. What can you do with the shear in your hand? You can do a lot. I've got the shark fin 6 1/4, fits my hand so well. Find one that fits your hand. They've got a lot of them that can do that. Go to sharkfin.com and they will take care of you there for sure, or check them out at one of the shows you go to. They've got so many good shears. Use that comb, use that shear to your advantage and make some changes. Hey, if you like this, hit the like button. If you want to see more, click the bell. That way you can get a subscription and you can follow us. We got great education coming your way, a lot more videos. Thanks for watching.